Hi, this is David here once again reporting on Yeonam-dong. Here's a really big empty lot which will probably obviously be filled within a couple of years, but it's just kind of weird to see this much empty space. And so you would think that it might get turned into a park because this area is actually quite residential and there's just a lot of small business. And actually, I think would behoove the area to have a little park there. But of course, it most likely won't happen just because of the nature of business and money and all that. Here's a really big daycare center just right here. Used to be a freaking like McMansion or something. Maybe not even a McMansion, just a mansion. It's huge. It's probably like 10,000 square feet, something like that. It's like really big. And here's like a really cool restaurant that I don't really want to point to the camera at because there's a lot of people in there because it's lunchtime. But take my word for that, it's pretty cool. Kind of have a lot of things on my mind at the moment, and they're all kind of jumbled up, so I don't really know if I can effectively kind of say what I want to say today in this recording. Maybe I'll record again tomorrow, keep this one a little shorter, and try and get my thoughts a little more lashed or nailed down or whatever, because there's a lot of things that are kind of swirling around, and there's no real good way to kind of pin down what I want to say. Right here's a really big on the corner there, across the street. It's like a really big Thai restaurant or whatever. And it's pretty, I haven't been there, but it looks pretty good. Right here's a sushi place. And I've noticed that in Korea there's like a lot of Japanese restaurants, but I've never really seen a whole bunch of people inside of them, except for a couple that are super popular. Because I can't really think of anything poignant to say, what I'll talk about today is something that I've been thinking about for about maybe 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Oh yeah, before I start talking. This is this new cafe I thought I wanted to do a walk by. Look at that right there. These are those 2 trees with those containers all stacked up. That's a cafe. It's like a real bona fide. There it is. It's a good shot of it now. It's like a real cafe. It's freaking huge. And it's really badass. But what I wanted to talk about today is, it's not anything heavy, but there's like, for me personally, there's like things that I obsess over and kind of, like look at and kind of, I shouldn't use this word, but kind of like covet them or whatever, because they're really cool and, everything in life, you can't just run out and buy it right away, so you have to kind of like either not buy it, or you just kind of like buy it, right? But for me, like I try and use like a lot of things, like material things in life as like goals or whatever, so like if I want to, I'll always have it in the back of my mind, or I'll bookmark it on my web browser, and I'll go back every, I don't know, maybe 6 months, a year, 3 months, month, week, day, and I'll look at it and I'll go like, that's something that I'll get when I can. And so that's part one. Part two is that there's in the US, in the Northeast, in Maine, I believe, there's a shoe company that's been around for a few, like, I don't know, maybe like 100 years or so, called Alden, A-L-D-E-N, and they're like, quite recently, in the last like 5 years or so, they've become like super popular to the point where they kind of are, they can't keep up with demand. A lot of people like their shoes because they're like handmade or whatever, and like and like are made with very good materials and all this stuff, so that the cost is extremely high, but the quality is extremely high as well. And they have like kind of like a lot of services that they'll resole them, and basically they make their shoes so that they'll last for at least like half a lifetime, which in the long game makes them, I think, worth the money. And of like leather shoes, there's like a lot of, obviously there's like a lot of different materials that you can make or use for leather, but in like kind of like the consensus, I think one of the consensuses that exists is that there's a certain kind of leather called Cordovan, which is like the best, and traditionally, like if you see kind of like that style of leather or whatever, it's usually in like a very dark red color. That's often called oxblood, and it's kind of like black and red mixed together. It's a really kind of beautiful color, and so that's part two. Part three is that about 4 years ago, there's an American clothing company called J. Crew, particularly like, and this company, these two companies, J. Crew and Alden, partnered in a collaboration to make kind of like what I consider to be the most handsome shoe ever made. And at the moment, J. Crew only gets these in about once or twice a year, and they always sell out like instantly because you only get, I think, about 50 of them in all sizes, like 50 total, in probably 2 of each size or whatever. And so I think recently, I checked this morning because I occasionally check it, and it looked like they had a new shipment in. And so, kind of like at this moment, I'm kind of debating kind of whether or not I should get them. And like I said, they are very expensive, and they are kind of like an investment. They are an investment, kind of like. So I am debating whether or not at the moment I should pull the trigger or not on a pair, because they are quite a stunning example of kind of craftsmanship or whatever. And yeah, we'll see. You know, like, I'll just say how much they cost because it's not like a secret or anything, but they're like $691, $691. So yeah, that's very expensive. You know, it's like $9 short of $700. But I know like that there are also shoes that exist that are much more expensive, that are like easily in the $1,200, $1,500, even $2,000 level cap. When you kind of think about it like that, the shoe becomes a lot less expensive, but also, like, I'll say right now that I would never spend that much money, like over $1,000 on a pair of shoes. I don't care like what quality they are. So I'll just kind of end with that. But, it's something that I'm definitely like. It's definitely something that I'm thinking about, and even if I don't buy them, which I probably won't, it's always good to kind of see like, or like make a waypoint that like at this moment you could have bought them or something like that, or like it's always good to have perpetually be reminded of keep this in perspective, but perpetually be reminded of your inadequacies, that you're still working towards something, and everything isn't good, good as in big G, not little g, big G good. Everything is not big G good, because I don't think anyone wants that, really. I mean, you might say you do, but if you think about it, you don't really want it. But anyway, that's about it. This was actually a lot longer than I wanted it to be, so I won't record anymore, or I won't record tomorrow. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk with you in a couple days.